Good afternoon. My name is Melanie Moreno, and joining me here today is Martha Rivera. So, Martha, where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Santana, which is about 45 minutes south of Pomona.
And what's your cultural background?
My cultural background, so both of my parents are actually immigrants from Mexico. So I'm first generation status here in the U.S. Both of my parents are actually undocumented still.
What is your occupation?
So my occupation is a very interesting field. I am the program director in College Access and Success. So I work in a program that works to provide access to students to get to college and then succeed. So my actual title is program director, but my occupation is College Access and Success.
What is your most important accomplishment in life?
Dang. I wasn't prepared. One of the stories I like to tell, and I think it's because it highlights like a lot of the things that I went through to make that accomplishment happen, is actually my college graduation. So I went to Chapman for my undergrad, and then I went to Harvard for my master's, right? And a lot of people assume that I'm more proud, kind of to some degree, of getting my degree from Harvard, but my most proudful moment was graduating from Chapman. And holding that diploma in my hand, and then I saw my family and friends in the back, and they all had streamers that had the Mexican flag on it. And I remember getting my diploma and getting up stage to like shake the president's hand, and then I saw all of these flags in the back waving, and I was really proud of that because I thought about quitting college a lot. I struggled a lot, I cried a lot, but it was worth the most. So that's my most prideful moment, and my biggest accomplishment to this day has been graduating from college and actually making it happen.
And how did you decide what you wanted to study?
So I didn't really know what I wanted to study. I knew the work I wanted to do, and I've actually known the work that I wanted to do since I was 12 years old. I knew I wanted to work with students to help them believe that they could do something. I didn't know what it meant, but I knew that that's what I wanted to do. So I'm getting interviewed. Yes. I know. Yay. Okay, go. What were we at?
Okay, who are 3 people in life you admire most?
Dang. Okay, my mom, my dad, immediately have to put them on the list. They work very, very hard. And then I actually have a mentor who I met when I was 11 who's like my mom. And she's the 3rd person that I admire the most. She's a teacher, and she runs her own nonprofit, and I want to be her when I grow up. Yeah.
And how did you decide what you wanted to do with your life?
I didn't really decide. People kind of told me. That's the honest answer. I think when you're first gen, right, and I'm the oldest of 4, so I'm the first one from my family to graduate, the first one to go through this, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I relied on my mentors a lot to say, like, hey, I'm getting ready to graduate. Now what do I do? Like, you guys told me to go to college, and what happens now? And they've led me through most of my life decisions have been because my mentors told me. I'm at Bright Prospect because my mentor told me about Bright Prospect. So I have made the biggest life decisions based on the guidance of my mentors who have done this before, and I rely on them to give me that guidance. Yeah.
What would you say are the major values or principles that you live by?
First of all, passion. I believe that you have to have passion in everything you do. I'm never the kind of person to kind of do something. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to go in kind of all the way, and work ethic. And this is something that's not very popular to say with people, but I always say it. I'm not the smartest. And it's not my ego, like, oh my God, tell me that I'm good. No, I'm not. But I know how to work really, really hard. And I'm the person that's not going to give up. And I think that those 2 values push me to work in this field, because sometimes I work 15 hours, sometimes I work 16 hours, sometimes I work the whole weekend. But when I come in on Monday, I'm like, oh, hey, hi everybody, so we're ready? Because I'm excited by what I get to do. So I think that those are my core values at the end of the day, and that motivate me not only through my work, but also through my life, is being passionate about the things I do and working really, really hard at them.
What are some of the biggest changes you've seen in your lifetime?
Biggest changes I've seen. Can it be about anything?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, technology. That's been the biggest change. We were talking about how a student today, we were signing her up for an event, and she's had the same email since elementary school. And I was like, what? Like, I remember being in 6th grade, okay? I'm not that old. And I was in 6th grade, and we had a typing pad on the wall, and you'd practice typing looking at it. And Carmen Sandiego, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? And you'd type and practice. You guys don't practice typing. it's assumed that you know how to do it. I learned how to do it. I had the AOL where the dial-up would go on to get to the internet. You know, Mom, get off the phone, and like you don't do that. So for me, the biggest change I've seen, I think, in my lifetime has been technology and the access that you guys have to it where we didn't. Yeah.
What are some of the most important lessons you feel you have learned over the course of your life?
I know I said it already, but it's to not give up. I think the hardest lesson that I learned was to learn to ask questions. I was very prideful. I thought people expected me to know everything, and it took me a really long time to understand that you don't have to know everything. Again, I'm passionate, I work really hard, and I need to learn to ask questions. And I think that was the biggest lesson I've learned, was learning to ask. Because there's a way to ask. Sometimes you're like, is that really you ask? You know what I'm talking about. There's a way to ask, and I learned how to ask. And I think that's really helped me in life.
Okay, and can you give your opinion on this? Do you think a person needs to first overcome serious setbacks or challenges to be truly successful?
No. I think success means something different to each of us. I think success to someone can mean, I think a lot about kind of mental health, because that's part of where my family comes from, and part of sometimes the issues or concerns we have. And I think sometimes success to someone can mean going to college, right? And that's what it meant to me. My brother works as a valet and he calls people, what are they called? Telemarketers. He works as a valet and as a telemarketer. My brother's happy. My brother's successful. He didn't go to college. It wasn't the right fit for him. So I think that as long as you find the fit for what works for you, you don't have to overcome challenges to be successful. It's just, I think, being happy. I think that when you're happy, you're successful. So.
What are some of the important choices or decisions you made that you have learned from?
Oh my God, these questions. Repeat it again.
What are some of the important choices or decisions you made that you have learned from?
I don't think I made the choices. And it goes back to that same idea. And that's why it's so important to have good mentors, right? And not necessarily trust everybody, but to learn to trust. I don't think they were choices. I think I was put in situations by my mentors and decided to be like, okay, like, Martha, you should do this. I was like, okay. Yeah, boy. Like, I didn't really ask a lot. Like, you should learn to ask, right? Again, learn to ask. But I kind of just did what they told me. And I learned a lot that, first of all, I was a student that most people don't believe it. I'm very much an introvert. And I'm very okay with that. I've learned that I'm a loud introvert, right? As I've explained. But I learned to believe in myself. I think that a lot of my childhood, I just didn't believe that I could. So I didn't think I was worth the effort for anybody. And I think that my mentors really taught me to believe that. And when I learned that lesson that I could, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try it. So I was telling them, I paint, I sing. No, okay, so I sing and I dance. And I used to do that a lot when I was younger. And then my teacher was like, Martha, you should paint. And I was like, of course. Are you kidding me? I'm super talented. Never allow me near a paintbrush. I'm really bad at painting. But I believed I could. So I tried. And I learned that maybe it's not my field. But that's okay. I'm still really amazing. So, it's a little bit of a struggle, but I believed that I could. And I think that was the biggest lesson, because at the many times in my life where I thought I couldn't, I had to remind myself that I should try because I believe I can. Yeah.
And who were your heroes or role models when you were young?
I didn't have any. I didn't. My parents were my motivation. My parents are my drive. But even my parents were not my heroes, because we went through a lot of difficult things where I saw their struggle. They were my role models, right? They were the people that I loved and that I valued, but I knew that I wanted something different, and I didn't see it. So the first time that I found somebody to be my hero was when I met my mentor.